Welcome to Off the Grid Gear to Get. I'm Brian Brody. Now, we've been talking for years about the benefits of being able to generate your own supply of electricity from the sun. But when you think about it, what good is power if you can't pack it with you? That's why I'm so excited today to review and maybe do a little product education, a one-on-one of one of my favorite pieces of off-the-grid gear, and they call it the Briefcase Backup. But make sure you stick around until the very end because I'm going to be giving one of these away. Hey guys, and Hannah, just so we're not mansplaining, I wanted to let you know about the Briefcase Backup. And the reason that I'm so excited about it is that every day I learn some new things that I can use, right? If you've been following Solutions from Science, you know we're all about getting free energy from the sun. So when the Briefcase Backup came down the pike, we had it so that the solar panels were built right in, but on the sides, we have all the different ways of getting the power out. Like I said, in the open, what good is power if you can't pack it with you? So what I wanted to do was just see if you had any questions, see why I've been enjoying my Briefcase Backup, and to see, really to identify the ways that you think you could involve this in your everyday. Now I take mine, I put it in the truck. Granted, it's got a light, which I'm pretty fired up about, right? So if I need it in an emergency situation, it is bright, isn't it? In an emergency situation, at least I know I have a light there. But the light pales in comparison to everything else that the unit does. And as you can see here, it's AC 12 volt out, you've got DC power, your ability to charge it. So what I do is I leave it plugged in all the time so that if I need it, like in an emergency situation or a power outage, if it's plugged in, I know it's always at 100%, which I can tell from the monitor here. You can tell what the percentage of the battery is. And then it powers a whole host of things, like especially with the USB outs that are over here, the DC out, the 12 volt out. People my age would call it cigarette lighter, right? So, but all the different things that you can power out, including a 12 volt out. So imagine that you have a normal plug, a normal appliance.
Like a laptop.
Like a laptop, like a cable from a laptop would be a perfect example. You plug that in, now you know you've got power for that as well. And the only other thing that I found that was really cool, and just to remind everybody, is that it doesn't have to be a bright, sunny day in order for solar panels to work. Like if you noticed before, when we first came in and I opened it up, it was taking the light from the ceiling. Enough photons coming from this light, registering on the solar panel to charge the batteries that are included inside, right, as a part of it. So for me, I just pack it up. You guys want to see how light it is? Take it anywhere I want to go. So no matter what happens, it's fully charged because I leave it plugged into the wall, right? And then either an emergency situation, or if I'm just out and about on the road and I'm not able to make it back in enough time, right? So then I'm not like that guy at the airport running around looking for an outlet, right? Hey, do you mind if I sit on the floor next to you so you can charge your phone? I've got it with me in the truck, in your car. You know, I like it handy because I'm thinking, like if my wife were gonna go out, there's some things that you can purchase to go along that will inflate tires, different things that you can do. She's able to use this. Another kind of a cool thing, although it got some looks from the people on the airplane, was I carried this on, and each of my young sons had their own. I know, right? Me and iPads, but you're on a flight to Los Angeles. You don't want to be the guy that goes, "Could you stop your son from screaming, please?" So they each had their own iPad port, right? So they had their little wireless headphones. But here, each of their iPads can charge. So even after it runs down on a long flight, I was able to keep it constantly going. And then if I needed something that would require 12 volt on a plane, and now some planes come with the USB power source, but you can also plug the 12 volt in, and then you know you have a full battery that'll give you everything you need. And when it starts to run down, if you can't go back and plug it in, you use the two built-in solar panels, you open it up, and again, just don't wait for a sunny day. It can be an overcast day like today, and you're still getting photons coming through the clouds, registering on the panels, communicating that energy. Oh yeah, let me show you this real quick.
Cool.
Just to give you an idea of how something like this works. So I have a regular old light, and I'm gonna turn this way so you can see. Now watch what happens.
And you just plug that into the regular outlet.
Put it right into the regular outlet, but now watch what happens in terms of the charge.
This is fascinating.
Starts to charge right back. So even the photons coming from this light bulb into the solar panels starts the unit charging. So I just wouldn't want you to be in a situation where you're like, I really don't want to open that up today because, it's December, it's been 3 months since we've seen the sun here, right? There's no sun to charge the solar, to hit the solar panels and charge the batteries. Even with this light bulb, you could see how the power is registered. So that being said, how else do you think it could be used? What else are you thinking when you look at a unit like this? What are some of the ways that you see that you could use it in your own life?
Well, I use a laptop a lot, and sometimes I have kids around me, and so I'm thinking, okay, I could plug the laptop into there, and they could plug their iPhones, iPads, or whatever into there, like you were saying, and so we would all have the same. We would all be able to charge all of our stuff on the same unit. I mean, that's pretty amazing, right there.
And I think that's a good point because I say all the time, like imagine there's a power outage. And you have to deal with everything that's going to come because of the power outage, emergency situation. If your kids are screaming in the background, and believe me, I got a boatload of them. If your kids are screaming in the background because their iPads aren't working, then the attention that you should be putting on the emergency, you have to deal because Junior's screaming at the top of his lungs that his iPad doesn't work.
Right.
So I know it sounds weird when they say, what's the first thing to survival? Make sure your kid's stuff is taken care of. We don't live in a day and age where kids don't have electronics anymore, however you feel about it. But for me, in terms of an emergency situation, once I know they're taken care of, then it frees me up to focus on whatever the emergency is. But if I'm constantly going, stop crying, will you stop crying? Well, the power will be back on sooner or later. If I'm constantly dealing with them, I got no juice left, right, to deal with whatever the emergency is. So I think you raise a valid point about, like on the airplane, right? That was just really kind of self-serving. I didn't want my neighbors screaming at me because my kids were screaming. But you plug it right in there, and then that gives you the flexibility to focus on whatever the emergency is.
What I call the cigarette lighter is there as well. That adds a lot of flexibility to this, I think.
Well, you know what I do is I put the cigarette lighter, so you say, the DC 12-volt out, I plug it into the truck, into the cigarette lighter in the truck, and then I know this thing is charging.
Oh, you can charge it that way too?
Charge it that way too, just as I'm driving down, the road. Because, as I said in the open, what good is power if you can't pack it with you? Right? And we've been saying all these years at Solutions from Science, when the power goes out, that's not the time. I read something the other day where a family, I believe of 4, was killed in a fire because they lit a candle for light. That little candle caught on fire, nobody woke up, everybody in the building died. And that's here in this country. So why use a candle? Why go to a flashlight and go, oh man, I didn't get the batteries? Now you know, and I have a flashlight that plugs right in that I can charge. The built-in battery can charge in the flashlight, so even in an emergency situation, I've got an additional light that I know that I can use.
It's also got 2 of these, two
USBs, right?
Yeah, 2. So that's extremely helpful.
Well, because you can use your phone, you can use your iPad, you can use. I mean, there's a light bulb that I really love that we have that you can plug right in. It's a USB light bulb. It's as bright as anything. And I've also found, like an emergency situation, you go, all right, so it's got a light, but you're not going to run around like this is going to be your flashlight, right? You're not going to run around and go, oh, here's my flashlight. It's not very portable in terms of using it as a flashlight. I can't see myself going, okay, it's time to get your homework done.
Right.
But here's what I found in an emergency situation. You kill the lights from it. If you put it towards, like, let's say an existing light that has a surface that reflects, look how bright it is in the room.
It's almost like a lantern.
It is like a lantern, exactly like a lantern. Good point. So then I just turn the light on, and if you're in an emergency situation, let's say you're stuck alongside the road, and a lot of times you don't want a straight beam of light because people won't recognize that.
Right.
What they recognize in a flashing light is the absence of light between it. So you can put the emergency flasher on, throw it in the back of your car, and then let people know that that you need some help.
That's great.
And what were you going to say?
Well, I love the handle on it because it makes it so much easier to carry, and it doesn't even really look like it's. I mean, it's shaped so it blends in.
Just looks like a regular briefcase, doesn't it?
Exactly. You're not going to draw any attention by carrying it around. Just looks like a regular.
And it looks pretty durable.
This is not
survival thing. So it looks like it can take a little bit of a beating.
But not so much survival that you feel like a dork carrying it around. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like, oh, well, I got this big, look at me, aren't I bad? It's not like bling. You're not going to go, oh, let me carry this. I think it looks great, and it looks that's probably why Bill calls it the briefcase backup, right? Why it's called the
Well, I mean,
briefcase
the panels, I like the fact that the panels are built into it. So I don't have like three cases with me. I just have one thing.
One thing to carry with you, you don't have to go, oh, you know what, I left the house, I forgot the panels.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly,
We were
yeah.
built right in, and then to the question that you asked earlier, I'm always pleasantly surprised how little light, remember light's just photons, how little light it takes to activate a solar panel to start generating energy into
Because
the
like
battery.
if you're in an airport or
Right.
somewhere,
Sure.
it's pretty bright in an airport,
Sure.
so it's going to charge up in an airport.
Yep, and it's charged off these lights.
Wow.
I remember one time in an RV I had pulled in underneath, and we had our solar panels on top of the RV, pulled into a gas station, and just the light from above the pumps, right, so you can see, you know,
Yeah.
insert your card, do this, do that, just the light from that was trickling into the solar panels, so the batteries were being charged. So that was probably the most important takeaway for me, is that when you think of solar, you always think of sunny days, but you don't
Right.
necessarily have to. You're at least getting some energy back. But as I said to Open, I leave it plugged in. So if it's plugged in and I know it's getting what's called a house charge, okay? We get a house charge for it. So then if I have to take it and go out the door with it,
Yeah.
I'm already at 100%.
Right.
So I know it's gonna work. Then I get to my vehicle, plug it in. I know it continues to charge in that same fashion, right? And then in an emergency situation, I've got the panels to expose it to the sun or an overcast day. So it really is power that I can pack up and take with me. So I'd like to say I leave it right at the back door, but I don't trust my kids with anything that in the back. So, but my philosophy is I leave it in the studio. It's plugged in, so that when I'm ready to go, it's ready to go with me.
Yeah.
What else are you thinking?
I'm just thinking, you know, it doesn't seem that heavy either, like you said. You can grab it and go and use it pretty much in any situation.
Well, it weighs less than a kettlebell. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
probably not all that hard. Although you might find, if you're walking an extended distance with it to get, just switch hands. You know, if it gets to the point. And then the battery, like, I found that the battery lasts for hours,
Yeah.
but like with every battery, it all depends what you're charging on it, right? So I took that entire flight to charge their iPads, no problem.
Wow.
But if I'm running a hairdryer, a 50-inch plasma screen TV, probably not gonna wanna use this, because it's all the draw on the batteries. But as compact as it is, as durable as it is, to your point, it's got the solar panels already built in. There's nothing even for me to forget,
Right.
right? Other than the one power cord, which you can pack in anywhere, it's like I say for me, which is good, it's foolproof, right? Because I just have to grab the handle and go, and I know I'm able to pack my power with me.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's fantastic.
Cool, thanks guys.
Thanks.
All right.
Now that we've talked a little bit about the briefcase backup, I'm sure you want to know how to win one, right? Because you'd like to have this for free. Now keep in mind, they sent me one to review and I'm keeping it because I'm that excited about the briefcase backup. But they've also got one ready for you, ready to give away. Because the guys at the office have put all the details below. All you have to do is read it. It's easy to enter. All you have to do is check out the steps below. But if you want one right now, there's also a link with a coupon code that you can get one at half off. And remember, anything you do order helps the company finance these giveaways. So we really appreciate your support. And if you found this review and giveaway to be helpful, then please share this video on Facebook, because I'm sure you've got friends and family that you know can use the technology of the briefcase backup. This is a great piece of equipment, and in a real emergency, it could even save someone's life. Hey, we look forward to seeing you the next time on Off the Grid Gear to Get.